name is Hazwa. Saya from Jet Corporate Services, based in KL Central Office. So, ini consider I punya first time lah join for this Malaysia HR Forum training, masterclass Employment Act recap session. So, banyak benda yang saya belajar lah. Mr. Arul is a very great presenter, to be honest. Banyak yang dia dah share throughout the entire session about the HR practices, which is related to Employment Act, and as an employee, banyak benda yang kita terlepas pandangan, especially on the process wise. So, a lot of operational requirements needed to be improvised for all of the companies itself. Mr. Arul also did share some of the secrets thingy, which is quite profitable to be applied in our organisation as well, which is kita macam tak notice benda ni sebelum ni kan.
Welcome to Training Marketplace, Malaysia HR Forum.
Your new go-to destination for professional development, upskilling, and corporate training.
At Malaysia HR Forum, we understand that finding the right training that's relevant and trusted can be time-consuming, but we are here for you.
That's why we created the Training Marketplace Malaysia HR Forum, an all-in-one platform where individuals and organizations can easily browse, book, and manage training programs in just a few clicks.
Book online or physical session anytime from anywhere. Anywhere. Literally anywhere.
Most conflicts at the workplace do not start with rebellion. It starts with confusion.
Approximately 280 Bangladeshi migrant workers in Malaysia are claiming over $694,000 US in unpaid wages.
Between January and October, Malaysian authorities issued 4 to 5 million ringgit in fines for labour offences, with 1,654 investigations opened involving forced labour.
But all of it is avoidable when you understand the rules and there is clarity. In this masterclass, I'll share with you how to understand Malaysia's Employment Act and its Sabah and Sarawak counterparts, manage disciplinary issues legally and ethically, eliminate labour disputes before they escalate. We will dissect real case studies from wrongful dismissal to wage disputes, from disciplinary hearings to forced resignations. Sometimes people tell me this kind of class is useless. You can Google it or ask around. But ask yourself this: do you want to be firefighting when the damage is already done? Or do you want to live with peace of mind solving issues before they ever reach your desk? Because no matter what your life looks like now, it can be better. Hi, I'm Arul and this is my masterclass. Okay. Not appearing yet. Okay. Good afternoon. Are you able to see me and hear me? If yes, please give me a thumbs up or maybe say yes. Are you able to hear me? No sound? Can't hear? Can't hear? Okay. So if you're able to hear me, no audio, still no audio. Good. I think should be okay. Okay, thanks, Elizabeth. You're able to hear me. Yes, thank you. So thanks a lot for joining our webinar series. And today we are going to speak on, or we're going to cover on, how do we manage employees with medical conditions. So my name is Arul, and welcome to our latest webinar series. And so it's going to take about roughly about 1 hour 45 minutes if there's not much of Q&A. But if there's Q&A, we can still go on up to 5 o'clock. So that's going to be the agenda for today. Now, before I begin, a couple of ground rules. The slides that is going to be shared today will be shared in our Facebook group after the webinar. So what you have to do, all you have to do, once the webinar is over, give us a short while. We'll upload these slides in our Facebook group. You can download the slides. And my request for all of y'all is to listen closely to the webinar before you raise your questions, because sometimes I notice participants like to ask questions before I can even cover the topic. So what you need to do is to push yourself to listen, understand the concepts, the logics, right? Use a bit of rational thinking. You will get your answers. So the challenge that I notice among some HR practitioners, I can't say all, but among some HR practitioners, they like to shoot out questions before they understand the issue. But if you really want to master the arts and science of our employment laws, what to do, what are the scenarios, how does the industrial court look at this, how does the labor office look at it, how does the IR department look at it, what are the case awards and whatnot, etc. Firstly is to understand the concept, the logic, and the intention of the law. Now, the law has been designed with certain intentions, right? So we got to understand those intentions and do some research, because most of the questions that you might have, not necessarily today, but in general circumstances, most of the questions, the answers are out there, but we don't do research. We prefer to ask. So technology has also made us a little bit lazy. Technology makes our life easier because we have so much information, so many platforms out there, but it also made us lazy because we tend to just ask, right? So it is good to do a bit of research and use a bit of logical and rational thinking, understand the scenario, understand the issues, not just at a surface level. Take a deeper approach to understand the issue, and I'm sure you will know what to do, right? So my urge to all of you all listening in today, especially if you're learning, if you're still at a learning stage, if you are a member of our forum, that's good. You have done the first step. But what you need to do is to follow the discussions, because every now and then there will be some colleagues out there who will ask, okay, I've got this scenario, what should I do, etc. So, and there will be many inputs given. So when you listen, when you read those inputs, you try to internalize it, try to understand it, etc. You will also start to learn, various scenarios. We should always learn ahead of time, not run around for answers. Whenever we run into some issues, then we run around for answers. Okay, how do I do this? How do I do that? But a better approach, right? A more positive approach towards learning is to learn in advance, right? The scenario or the questions that is being asked today may not be relevant to you today, but it might be relevant to us tomorrow, right? That is why we should not say that this topic nothing to do with me. You might move to another company down the road, or somebody in your organization down the road may have a particular issue. So how do you manage it, right? We cannot come to the moment there's an issue right in front of us and we are like lost, don't know what to do, right? If we want to be successful as a HR practitioner, when an issue crops up, right? We may not be an expert. That's okay. That's understandable. But at least you have an idea how to take the first step, right? How to get things started, rather than the house is on fire, right? The house is on fire. We are scrambling for answers. How? By the time we find the answers, the house has burned down, right? So good to take a more positive attitude towards learning. Now, there are roughly about 487 of you. Now, I think all of you have that positive attitude, because you might not have this scenario, but the fact that you are joining this webinar to learn on how do we manage medical conditions, how do we do this, what do we do that, etc. So glad that you have taken that step, and I hope that more practitioners will do that. So from time to time, we do organize webinars like this. So it's good to join, listen, and share it with your colleagues. Now, so today I will be covering two parts. One is on managing medical process, which is the most important part or the key part of our lesson today. The next small topic I'm going to cover on maternity. Now, yes, you may know maternity, 98 days, etc. But do you know what scenarios employees qualify for maternity? For example, an employee worked in the first 3 months of her pregnancy, and she was working with you. Then she resigned. For the next 6 months, right? Normally they're pregnant for 9 months. So the first 3 months they work for you. The subsequent 6 months, they have left. They're on, they're not working. Do they qualify? Right? In what scenarios they don't? In what scenarios they do? So I'll be covering, that at the later part of the presentation. There's about 7 trivia for you. There's 7 scenarios for you. So, right. So what I would like you to do is pay attention, follow, and focus. And we have got 2 books to be given away, right? The Employment Act book, if you are in Peninsular Malaysia, or if you're in Sarawak, there's a Sarawak book, but I always puzzle how to quote to you. So I'll be giving out 2 books at the end of this presentation. But what you can do is please listen and be the first to answer when I ask this question later. So based on the chat box, whoever is first to answer, you are the winner, right? So Mia, if you can bring me the yellow book. Yep. Okay. So let me get started. My name is Arul. I'm sure some of you all, you might know me. I may have seen you before. My name is Arul, and I have worked just like all of you all, running HR operations, gone through all the scenarios that you have, and based on this experience, I'm going to share what do you do, how do you do, and so on. And I have personally set up, crafted a funnel to guide companies or guide you. How do you manage? Where do you start? What do you need to do? Where do you start? Now, something that you probably have not seen in any other documentation out there. So that is something that I've done, and I'm going to share that with you. So I work with large companies. I work with particularly 2 companies with 9,000 employees. And when you work in a large company, you face all kind of scenarios, right? Whether it's employee, whether it's union, whether it's foreign workers, challenges with leadership, challenges with managers, etc. So that gives a good experience. Now, those of you all, if you are coming from manufacturing, I got to congratulate you. Why? Because manufacturing is one of the best training ground for HR practitioners when it comes to employment-related matters, employee challenges, issues, disciplinary. Manufacturing is a good training ground, but that does not mean that if you're coming from the service sector or hospitality sector. No, I'm a bit biased to manufacturing because I come from manufacturing. So those of you who are manufacturing, it's a good training ground to really experience these kind of scenarios. So yeah, so that's a little bit intro of myself. By the way, if you need to reach me, my email address is down there, my phone number is down there, but please don't, I'm okay to reply some messages here and there, etc. But please don't abuse me, asking me endlessly, non-stop, etc. Good to get yourself trained, so at least you know the foundational aspects of how do you manage challenges, issues, scenarios, and whatnot. Now, before I begin, this is a common slide that I always share in my webinars, seminars, and trainings. Why? Because sometimes we take shortcuts to get things done. We try to evade the law. We try not to follow, because if I follow the law, it is expensive, right? If I don't follow the law, how is that? For example, should we include meal allowance when we calculate ORP for overtime? Should we include attendance allowance when we into ORP? when we compute overtime? Answer is yes. Meal allowance has got to be part of ORP. Attendance allowance has got to be part of ORP. COLA has got to be part of ORP. Performance incentive has got to be part of ORP. Some of you have contractual bonus. Contractual bonus is not it's not part of ORP. But if you have a performance-based bonus and you tie that to individual performance, that is under wages. That has got to be included ORP. So these are things that we got to know. If you don't know, it's good to learn up. But if we know that, okay, this has got to be covered under ORP, but we try not to because employee is not aware, the bosses want to save some money, etc. Now that's where the issue starts. If the company is audited, employee find out somebody, hey, this is not right, they make a complaint, audited, you may be asked to recalculate back the overtime, etc. for the last 6 months and pay the employees. Right? It is painful to do this recalculation because you can't use the payroll system. Payroll system done the process. You got to calculate manually. Number two, employees will start to not trust you. They must, what is this payment for? Oh, because we did not include meal allowance into ORP, or we did not include performance allowance into ORP. And when you do that, the employees will start not to trust you. And when they don't trust you, every decision, every step that you take, employees will be suspect. There's a word for it. It just doesn't cross my mind. Employees will be suspicious, right? So do it right. The statement here says that if you think compliance is expensive, try non-compliance. In other words, what it says, compliance, when you comply with the law, it is cheaper. When we don't comply, it becomes more expensive. Now, during COVID, quite a number of companies got into issues relating to forced labor. And when this issue happens, some clients will not buy your product and so on. And when that happens, right, companies loses their business. And once the damage is done, it's going to be hard to repair those damage, right? If we want to save costs, we got to find other ways to save costs. Now, you all may not know this. Those of you all, if you have attended the masterclass, I've given you, a series of breakthrough strategies. For example, how many of you all do not give annual leave during probation? Just, do you give or you don't give annual leave during probation? Anyone? No price for this. I just want to give you an idea, right, where we could save money. Do you give annual leave during probation? Anyone? Okay, if no one, then I don't give you the answer for it. Anyone? Do you give or you don't give annual leave during probation? Anyone? Okay, what did they say? Okay, now, those of you all, if you don't give annual leave during probation, we think that, wow, we have got the great big deal, we have won the battle, etc. A company that don't give annual leave during probation, what are you losing out? When you don't give annual leave, employees may tend to opt for sick leave. In your mind, sick leave means, if your employee is sick, your doctor gives you MC, okay, you go on sick leave. But some employees, for them, the sick leave is cuti tahunan tambahan. They start to take sick leave to not come to work. When an employee takes sick leave, you are paying two costs: the salary for the day and the cost of MC. Let's say 60 ringgit. So what happens is, when the employee goes on sick leave, you only pay one cost, which is the cost of 60 ringgit or whatever the clinic charges you. But when they go on MC, two costs. You got to pay the salary for the day because it's paid leave, plus the cost of medication, the cost of MC. But when you give annual leave, you avoid paying the clinic, right? So remember this. And if you hold this annual leave, we don't give first month, second month, third month, we don't give annual leave. At the end of 3 months, the employee says, this company lousy lah, ini tak boleh, itu tak boleh, I nak quit. When they quit, you got to pay them back the annual leave. So you're not even saving. You hold. After 3 months, you got to pay them back the sick leave. The annual leave. So you're not saving. You're wasting even more money. So just imagine, if one blue-collar employee, an operator, for example, the lowest level, if their salary is 1,007, the salary per day roughly is about 58, 59 ringgit. So that is 60 ringgit. The cost of MC is 60 ringgit. Every day they take MC, you're paying 120, 60 plus 60. Again, they take MC the next month, another 60 plus 60. So every day is 120. But the cost of annual leave per day, if it's blue collar 1,007, it's only 60 ringgit. So remember this, when we save, when we try not to give annual leave, sometimes those people, if you come and see me, I will tell the company that you guys are fools. Why? Because you think you're saving. No, you're not saving. You are actually burning more money. So whatever the law says, pay, please pay. If you want to save costs, find other ways to save costs. Let me tell you where companies are not being cautious, or shall I say, making costly saving or expensive saving. We think we are, we have won the Great World War, but we are the biggest loser. Not giving annual leave during probation period, giving minimum annual leave as per the law. The law says 8 days, but is 8 days sufficient for today? Now, all of you all here, there are 617 of you all. Are you okay if your company only give you 8 days annual leave? You can't. So what makes you think that the operator can? When you don't give, it's okay lah. I will take MC. What can you do? Right? So, number one, not giving annual leave during probation, giving minimum annual leave, which is 8 days. Number two, having long notice period, 3 months. Another, I tell you, if you're a huge company, you are burning millions of ringgit or hundreds of thousands of ringgit. We think that 3 months probation, etc. But I can tell you, it is waste. It's a waste. Having long probation period, another waste of money. So why do I say this is waste money? Because why? You don't get the best deal from employees when you hold them too long. So I stop there. So remember this. If you think compliance is expensive, try non-compliance. Now, let me go into the topic of managing medical conditions, right? So later part, so please stay tuned. This is the Employment Act compilation by ILBS. So I'm going to give out 2 books at the end of this session to whoever answer first, right? But I'm going to ask some questions. Whoever is the first to answer, I have got 2 colleagues in front of me. If they, they will take note of your name. If you are the first to answer, later we'll contact you and you give us the address, we'll courier this to you, right? If it's Sarawak, we'll give you the Sarawak version. We don't have the Sabah version yet, but this is what we can do for now. So please stay tuned. Now, so I'm going to go into the topic of how do we manage employees' medical conditions. If an employee is unwell, they met an accident or they had some illnesses, they become incapacitated, that means they can't perform their work anymore, etc. What do you do? Right? Of course, in our mind, okay, can we terminate? Now, termination is what you do, to remove them, either medical, board of frustration, whatever name you call it. That is a later part of the story, not now. So based on past case awards, if you read cases, I'm going to share quite a bit of case awards. If you read the past case awards, employers can terminate an employee on medical grounds, right? Sometimes people ask me this, what is the right terminology? Should I say termination on medical grounds? Should I say medical bought out? Should I use the word frustration of contract? I tell you what, let's put terminologies aside. Don't worry about terminologies, right? Let's put terminologies aside. So now, if we want to terminate an employee on medical condition, they can't work anymore, right? They can't work anymore. They're always on sick leave. They're away for weeks and months, etc. Sometimes they're okay, sometimes not okay. What do we do? So this is a very important statement or very important thing to know. Number one, you can find ways how to offboard them. If the chances of recovery is very, very slim, but who do we determine? Who is able to determine? We are all HR guys, right? We are HR practitioners. We are not medically trained. You need a medical expert to tell you that the condition of this employee is such and such, and he can work, cannot work, whatever, etc. So somebody who's medically trained has got to advise the HR folks, you guys. Now, you can terminate them. However, you are expected to be reasonable, right? Why do we say reasonable? Reasonable meaning we got to be
fair. We got to look into scenarios. We got to look at circumstances. So be reasonable. Berpatutan, right? Be reasonable. And that's the first condition. Be reasonable. Condition number 2, show that you have exhausted various options and actions. You have tried everything under the sun. You've tried this, tried this, tried this. Everything we tried still cannot. Right? And the third one is make sufficient inquiries. Find out. How do you find out? Not by looking at the employee's medical report, you make a decision, okay, the guy cannot know. You get expert opinion or expert advice from the medical practitioner. So because they will be able to understand the scenario, what is the employee have, what is the issue the employee has, and what do we go about it? Is there a chance of recovery? So 3 conditions that you must fulfill. Number 1, be reasonable. Number 2, exhaust all options that you have. Number 3, find out what is their condition, right? And number 4, evaluate all surrounding circumstances, right? Evaluate. I'll show you what are those circumstances to be evaluated. So evaluate all these surrounding circumstances. If you terminate an employee and you're not able to showcase all this, the court may say that this termination is unfair. Why is it unfair? Because you were not reasonable. Recovery, you see, when an employee is having medical issues, right, they need time to recover. Am I right? Somebody met an accident, he will take a couple of weeks or maybe a few months to recover. But what we do, just because you don't come back to work, after 2 weeks, we said, I want to terminate. Recovery takes time. Employment law gives them 60 days hospitalization leave, 14 days sick leave, to recover if they're having illnesses, right? So be reasonable. So remember this. What are those elements you got to take note of? Number 1, be reasonable. Number 2, explore all options and actions that you have. Number 3, find out. Number 4, evaluate all surrounding circumstances. Now, if you have done all of this, I'm quite sure your case is a good case. That means you have tried all options. And when you come to a point when you no longer have any other options to do, no other ways, then you terminate them. Similarly to retrenchment, when the company is not doing well, can we straight say, I want to retrench tomorrow? You are supposed to, retrenchment is always the last straw. The last straw meaning, what do? We cut down overtime. We reduce the number of work days, etc. Cut benefits, whatever that legally possibly can. Now we've tried all of this to reduce our overheads, to reduce our operational costs. But despite doing all of this, business is still bad. We are bleeding financially. Now I do not have a choice but to terminate them. Retrench them. But if the business is doing okay, business is quite profitable, but there are some employees, I don't want them. What do? Offer VSS. Or you talk to them on individually talk to them on a separation package, mutual separation, but not applying SSS, right? Suka sek. I learned this from Harvinder. Suka sek, right? Harinder, sorry, suka. Just because suka. So you can offer VSS, you can offer MSS, but not SSS, right? So now going back to medical issues, explore all options and actions before you terminate them. So I see questions, employee 2 weeks not coming to work, accident, can I terminate? You can't. Why you can't? Because you are not being reasonable. Employee who met an accident would take some time to recover. So remember, earlier on in my earlier slide, I said, always, when you have an issue in front of you, use our common sense, our logical sense, empathy. The guy made an accident. Recovery will not happen quickly, right? He will take a couple of months to recover. Now, so ask the doctor, I would like to find out from you, based on his condition, how long do you anticipate his recovery to take place? The doctor may say, based on my experience, it may take about 3 months. But sometimes even doctors are not gods, right? They're not God. Doctor will not be able to give you with high certainty, I guarantee you 3 months is okay. doctor can only give you his expert opinion based on his experience. But sometimes, in Bahasa we said, we said, by God's grace, there are many things beyond our control. But doctor can give you his expert opinion based on his experience dealing with cases like this, right? So these are the four things. Number one, be reasonable. Number two, evaluate all surrounding circumstances. Number three, please make inquiries, find out why, through the doctor. And number four, exhaust all options and actions. If you have done all of this, I'm pretty sure your case is good. Now, what are the factors, right? Now, let me remind you, this is not a checkbox. Yes, 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 I terminate. No. This is to give you an idea, what are the various factors to take into consideration? For example, what is the nature of the employee's illness? What is it all about? How long he is expected to be away for recovery? Now, what is the impact of his illnesses on the job, on the other employees, on the company, right? How long is he going to be away? Sometimes he's healthy, suddenly ill. Healthy, suddenly ill. So these are the factors to consider, right? Before you decide to terminate them. And this is the funnel that I was saying just now. Now, again, I must remind you that this is not a process flow. I follow this flow, I terminate. But this is to give you an idea where to start, what to do, and so on. Now, remember, one of the items that I mentioned just now, you must be reasonable. You must exhaust all options and actions. So, where do you start? Now, these are the common scenarios, right? These are the common scenarios. If it's too small, don't worry, you can review the slides later. These are the common scenarios: terminal illnesses, chronic illnesses, workplace accident, or workplace-related injury, or if they met an accident while playing, maybe going for a holiday, they met an accident, maybe playing football, met an accident, broke his leg, for example, frequent MCs, long MCs, or other issues, right? I know some of you all may have this issue. What about employees with mental illness? Please ask me that later. I will share with you my thoughts on how do you manage employees with, mental health issues. Now, these are the scenarios. So mental health issue could be under others. So what do you do? When they have exhausted their sick leave or hospitalization leave, send them for a medical assessment, right? Send them to a doctor that you have appointed. You must have a policy in place that mandates you to send them for medical examination. Let's call it as compulsory medical assessment. You got to send them. And they got to, you tell them to go, you pay for it because you are asking them to go. And if the doctor's feedback is that employee is healthy, counsel them, give them a letter of advice. Now, you like to ask this question: oh, I got employees abusing sick leave, every time sick leave, every Monday, every Friday, after public holiday. Now, when you suspect a trend, when you see, you see potential suspect, don't wait for the medical leave to be exhausted. When you suspect, hey, why last 2 weeks, the guy has taken 3-4 days off MC, call him, saying that, dear John, what happened to you? We noticed that you've been taking quite a bit of MCs in the last 2 weeks. He may say, I'm so sorry, I was ill, etc. Okay, I understand that. Now, as per company policy, we would like you to visit Dr. Razak's clinic, our panel doctor. Go and visit Dr. Razak. Please bring all your medical reports that you have, show it to Dr. Razak. Dr. Razak is going to evaluate your condition and advise us whether you're fit for employment or not. Right? Make him go. Right? Can he choose not to go? Answer is no. Because why? Any lawful and reasonable orders, right? Please write this down. Lawful and reasonable orders. Any lawful and reasonable orders of the company must be obeyed. Who says this? In the case of Niao versus Sungai Wang Plaza, the federal court said this: any reasonable and lawful orders of the company must be obeyed, must be followed. Otherwise, it is called insubordination. So now, please, John, please go and see Dr. Raza. Please bring all your medical reports. Now, HR guys, don't put this on your head. You know, the problem with us is everything is on our head. Then you start to find how to explain to them. No, you tell the employee, the burden is on you, not HR. The burden is on you, employee. You bring your reports. You prove your case to Dr. John or Dr. Raza that you are not well. You prove your case. Please don't take burden on your head. Put the burden on them. See Dr. Raza, bring all your medical reports. Dr. Raza will advise us, right? So Dr. Raza says, hey, John is okay, he's healthy. Please monitor him. I will give John a letter. Dear John, please improve your attendance. Starting today, we are going to confine you to only one clinic, Dr. Raza. You must go and see Dr. Raza if you are not well. No other clinic we will accept the MC from. Now, his freedom is limited. He may go to a clinic nearby his house. Maybe he say, hey, HR, my house is in, far, far away. I can't be coming to Dr. Raza because Dr. Raza is nearby the company. Never mind. As per our company policy, you go and get your MC from whatever clinic, but we want you to go and see Dr. Raza to get Dr. Raza to endorse your MC. Many of you all may not know this trick, right? I'm going to pay for it. Company will pay for it, but see Dr. Raza, endorse your MC. If Dr. Raza endorse your MC, we'll accept it. In most cases, the Dr. Raza wouldn't endorse it. But what you are trying to do, you are trying to, not to say make life difficult for him, but you are not giving him room to abuse your medical privileges. You don't do this. But if you can do this, I bet you start doing it tomorrow, I bet you in a week or two from now, your MC abuse cases, genuine cases, don't disturb them, right? But those people who abuse, the trend will drop. And this is the answer I believe most of you are looking for. So do that. So let me come back to this funnel. Send them for medical assessment. If the doctor says they're fit, counsel them. Give them don't give them a show cause letter, warning letter. Just give them a simple letter of advice. Dear John, as per your medical assessment done by Dr. Raza and based on your reports presented to him, Dr. Raza says you're fit to work. Please improve your attendance. Starting today, your clinic will be limited to one, for example. But if the employee is having chronic illnesses or they met an accident, normally these are genuine. Those cases like this, medical, for example, cancer, diabetes, stroke, for example, met an accident, leg is broken, etc. These people don't fake this. Your issues are frequent MCs, long MCs. So this will help. So give them a counseling if you know that these are potential abuse cases. Can an employee go and file a case in industrial office, constructive dismissal because they give a letter? Answer is no lah. Because why? For employee to walk out. And now this is another scenario that, many of you guys probably think that, I give letter, he'll walk out. No, because to walk out, what does the industrial court in a couple of cases say? There are 4 conditions an employee must fulfill in order for them to claim constructive dismissal, right? So I won't go into that because it'll be lengthy and tedious. But in Facebook, we have discussed all this. What are those 4 conditions? So if the 4 conditions are not met, don't worry about it. Giving a warning letter, I can tell you it is not constructive dismissal. So giving them a counseling letter. I'm not suspecting you, but I am advising you to improve attendance, and so on. So once you've done that, what will happen? Those employees who are having, let's say they met accident, etc. Now, doctor says that after you send for assessment, the doctor says that, okay, the employee is recovering and he can return to work, but he cannot perform his normal job because of his condition. So it is advisable to give him a temporary modified duty or light duty, right? Modify his duty. If he's a technician and he's got to climb, to repair certain, lights, equipments, etc., maybe you give him a an office job where he could do some document review, for example. That's a modified job, right? It's also, so modify the job or give him a light job. But if, let's say, if you don't have, or if they cannot do a modified light duty and you don't have it, they continue on unpaid leave. Because if they've exhausted the hospitalization leave, then next is unpaid leave. But some of them, right, after their hospitalization, etc., they may be, they are fit and fine now. Go back to original job. Fantastic. But some of them may not, they have recovered, but they cannot go back to their original work. For example, a technician met an accident, motorbike, and doctor has put a plate in his leg, and he now limps, right? He can't climb, he can't carry heavy stuff. So if you have a modified duty or a light duty, that can be given to him on a permanent basis, then you give it to him. If you don't have it, that's another scenario. I'll cover that later. Right? So this is another possibility. What do you do next? Some companies, you guys have this prolonged illness leave, right? Or short form is PIL. Something like 3 months full pay, 2 months half pay, 1 month no pay. Some of y'all could be 333, 222, whatever, etc. That is good. That means you are giving them, you are exploring various options and actions, right? You give them PIL. If you don't have it, the law did not say that you must grant PIL. But quite a number of companies, they have taken an extra step to support their employees who are having medical issues by giving PIL. If you have it, that's fantastic. If you don't have it, the law did not say that you must give. If you can afford it, go for it. If you can't afford it, that's fine as well. Now, if the employee qualifies for SOCSO rehab, right? Because SOCSO have a rehab center. If they qualify SOCSO rehab, support them. There's one company out there that I know, when they go for SOCSO rehab, and they're on unpaid leave already, they pay the 1 month's salary when they go for SOCSO rehab, even though they're not working. So it's up to you. But I'm not saying that you must do it, but I'm just sharing with you an example of what one company does, send for SOCSO rehab. In fact, even if you don't want to pay, the salary during SOCSO rehab, which is not a must, by you encouraging them, supporting them to go for SOCSO rehab, that is already something positive. And after prolonged illness, whether it's 3 months, 4 months, whatever the period is, they still haven't recovered. If they recover, go back to job. If they cannot, not recovered, if you have a light duty, give it to them, or they continue unpaid leave. Send them for assessment again, right? And finally, if maybe they are now back fit and what I said, fit, they are fit now, right? They are fit for duty, they are okay now. Go back to original position. Or the condition, they have recovered, but they cannot go back to original condition. For example, the case of the technician who's limping. If you have a modified duty or a light duty, that can be given to him on a permanent basis, give it to him, right? Or option 1 is not possible. He cannot, there's no modified duty, there is no light duty, or he can't, he is not able to perform work anymore. He cannot go back to his original position. Now, what do? Frustrate his contract. Or, if he qualifies for SOCSO, a medical board out, he's taken the SOCSO medical board, off he goes as well. So this is what I call as a simple medical management process. Now, end to end, from the start till the end, it can easily take you 1 year. So remember, questions like, oh, I got this employee accident for 1 month, cannot come back to leave, can I terminate him? Now, Employment Act, case laws or case awards, they do not give any indication how long. You decide. Now, if you read as many case awards, the court always tells us this: take a slower approach when you terminate an employee. In other words, don't rush. So you decide what is a reasonable period. Remember, we need to be reasonable. So what is a reasonable period to allow them to recover? So if you ask me, I would say 1 year is a reasonable period. But again, if you ask me a question, can I do in 6 months? Can I do 2 years is very long. If you can afford to keep him, go ahead. But if you say 6 months, that's up to you. Again, there is no indicative period or indicative length, duration. How long, you decide. So this is a simple medical funnel, that can guide you. But there are multiple steps. And in this design that you're seeing right now, how many times should we send this employee for medical assessment? Again, whatever you're seeing now, it is not mandated by the law, right? You check all the books, the act, case awards, you will not find any indicative duration or period. Every quarter, one time. Because why? You have, throughout the whole year, you have sent the employee for 4 assessment, and you're able to track his progress. Is he improving, or he's not recovering, right? So 4. Who pays for it? You pay. Whose doctor? You choose the doctor. What doctor? Can a general doctor, a GP? That means GP means general practitioner, right? It is always advisable to get a specialist or an OHD doctor. It may be costly, but remember this. If we terminate this employee, or we frustrate the contract, whatever label you want to call it, if the employee is unhappy, he can file a case for unfair dismissal. The case goes to IR, goes to industrial court. If you are not able to justify your decision and the court don't want to buy your story, 24 months maximum, back wages plus 1 month per year of service. It can be even 2 if the court feels there's a they want to award punitive damage award. So 24 months plus. So we try to save this 300-400 per assessment, but what you are exposing the company to, 24 months wages plus. So you decide. Spend that small money, 300-400 now, to send assessment every 3 months or so, or be prepared to pay 24 months maximum plus. Now, let me just give you a couple of past cases that has gone to the court. Now, in the case of MHS Aviation versus Zainul Akmal, the court said this, right? I'm just going to focus on a few of the items there. So the court said this. The company, in this case, right, they did not make any inquiries on the employee's illness. They didn't find out. The termination notice was issued based on assumption that these illnesses will be permanent. Assumption. Can we make a decision based on assumption basis? You assume that this, this employee's condition is going to be permanent. Now, we are not a medically trained doctor, so we can't decide. We're not able to interpret these reports. So in this case, it was unfair. In the case of the next case, what happened in this case? The court says this, the employer, when you do medical board out, you are expected to act reasonably, be reasonable, in accordance with your obligations of social consciousness, right? You have a duty over your employees, just like a father or mother has a duty over the kid. As a company, you have a duty over employee. You should attempt to offer an alternative employment, even though it may be a lower paying job, right? So this is, again, let's say, for example, let me go back to the case of the technician who met an accident. He's limping because there's a plate, planted into his leg. He can't climb, can't carry heavy stuff. So, but there is a storekeeper job, but it's a lower paying job. Offer it to him. If he accepts, give it to him. If he says, no, I don't want, etc., then you document it. When the case goes to court, you're able to tell the court that we have, monitored him for 1 year. We have explored all options and actions. We even had a lower paying job. We offered to him, but he refused, etc. Then the company is left with no other options but to end his employment. Now, to me, that is a good reasoning. Frustration of contract, right? I'm not going to go through this, lengthy wording, but what is the frustration of contract? Now, this is not under Employment Act, but if you were to look at Contracts Act, all our contracts in Malaysia is governed by Contracts Act. Section 57(2) says that a contract, typically there's two parties to a contract. If either party cannot fulfill the contract, cannot work out the contract, tak boleh jalankan apa yang contract ini perlu, that means the contract is deemed to be frustrated. I didn't terminate the contract, right? For example, an employee become medically ill. He didn't ask for it. He became ill and he cannot perform the contract anymore. Employee dies. He's not going to come and give you, say the boss, I want to inform you I'm going to die tomorrow. No. Once he's dead, he passes on, contract cannot be performed anymore, right? So that is frustration of contract. So that will be a right terminology to use if an employee cannot work anymore. But I always advise companies this. Don't worry about terminology. Sometimes you say, should I call it medical board of frustration of contract, termination on medical reasons? Put the terminologies aside. Of course, good to use the right terminology. Now, when does frustration apply? When something happens because of not either one's fault. Not your fault or not my fault. That's when frustration happens. So when does it happen? When an employee dies, prolonged illness, they cannot perform their job because of accident or illness, medically they are unfit anymore, or maybe if they are held by police detention for a long period of time. So these are situations where you can frustrate the contract. Can the employee make a claim for unfair dismissal? Right? Answer is yes. Because you know what? In the case of, you can see in the case of Guthrie, it says that when an employee cannot perform anymore, the illnesses of the employee is likely to last for a prolonged period. Right? You may have to make a decision. Then in the case of Garrix versus Nolan, the court says this: the employer, which is you guys, all of y'all, the employer cannot be expected to go to unreasonable length. You cannot be waiting forever to accommodate an employee who's not able to carry out the job that he was hired for. So the law, in my view, also understands the company's concern. You got to run a business. You're not a welfare department, right? So, but be reasonable. Don't rush. Give some time. Recovery takes some time. Explore all surrounding options and actions. Evaluate, right? So if you can do all of this, you are in a better position to decide and terminate employee. Now, malingering. Malingering means employees, he's okay, he's not sick, but he pretend to be sick. He faked it, right? That's called malingering. Most of your MC abusers are malingering. Of course, I don't have a percentage to say, but I can tell you quite a number of employees who say that I'm sick today. Yesterday, they were perfectly fine, can play football, can go makan, not coughing, etc. Suddenly today, MC. Fever and cough. And tomorrow, perfectly okay. First time, second time, third time, really something is wrong, right? These are common, I'm not saying that they could be, they could be genuinely ill, right? Don't get me wrong. But what I'm trying to say is you got to watch out for abusers. So now, and sometimes we blame the doctor. This doctor, surely this guy has, given MCA. Sometimes it is not the doctor's fault. Let me give you a scenario. An employee woke up at 10 o'clock. Maybe he had some party last night, slept late, woke up at 10 o'clock. Alamak, he said, 10 o'clock already. If I go to a company now, if I go to work now, my boss is going to screw me up. So he decided not to go and, don't dress up, don't bathe, etc. Mandi minyak cak kapak. Go and see doctor at, at 11 o'clock. Doctor, malam tadi doctor saya cerit-berit lah doctor. Pergi tandas 10 kali. The doctor look at his condition and says that, your condition is so bad, you better take 1 day off. The doctor is not going to tell him, macam tu okay, tak apa. You duduk sini dekat klinik, I nak tengok berapa kali you pergi tandas. Doctor won't do that, right? Some of the illnesses that employees have can be tested. Fever, you put a thermometer, yeah, you got fever. Urine infection can be tested. But how to test migraine? How to test backache? How to test cerit-berit? So doctor also may give an MC based on employee's declaration. I'm sure all of you all, right? when you are not well, when you go and see the doctor, doctor gives an MC based on what you tell them. Because not everything can be tested. How to test migraine? Right? There's no way to test migraine. So the doctor, based on your understanding, he will probably have to say that, your condition looks so bad, I give you 1 day, take 1 day rest. Not the doctor's fault, but we make a quick judgment, or, I think doctor, right? So employee faked it. So, but one time, a bit difficult to, gauge. But when you see this happening, hey, why this employee every Monday or frequently on Fridays, frequently before public holiday, frequently after public holiday, except there's a pattern, then something is not right. The flag goes up. Send in for assessment. But if you don't send, or because my company, I told one company, oh no, my boss said, very expensive. Okay lah, continue paying MC. So if you don't want to invest, this is not cost, Sometimes you say that, paying doctor is a cost. Change the word cost into investment. If you invest this 200-300 ringgit to send for assessment, imagine how much of time and money, future time, future money that you're going to save. Right? So please do that. At the bottom, if you see this employee, this employee, he was guilty of malingering. He was MC on that day, but he attended a family day at the hotel. You're an MC, you're supposed to be an MC, right? There was also another case, MC, this is a case that has gone to the court. That's why I say you all must read. When you read, you understand, oh, this scenario can, oh, this scenario cannot. But if you don't read, then how to improve our knowledge? So please read. Employee went on holiday, on MC, while on MC, went on a holiday, posted in Facebook, company saw, what do you think the company will do? Find out, if it's proven you went for holiday, terminate. He cannot say, oh no, holiday, MC is my time. No, if you have recovered, you should be back to work. It does not mean doctor, again, don't blame the doctors. Doctor, they will decide based on their experience and knowledge. Okay, in this scenario, I think your recovery, you need 2 weeks. Now, so I give you an MC for 2 weeks. But that does not mean that you can enjoy for the 2 weeks. By right, if the employee has recovered, he should go back to the clinic, say, doctor, I think I've recovered. I want to go back to work. But of course, employees won't do that, because why? When I'm on MC, I get pay what? What fun to go to work? What fun to go to see my boss's face and then every day kena maki hamun? So I just rest at home. But of course, if they go for a holiday, now you have a case against them. And so in this case, what has happened? The industrial court says this, when this employee, he was dismissed for excessive medical leave. Now, taking excessive medical leave, is it a misconduct? Taking excessive medical leave when, and they are genuinely ill, memang sakit. Some employees, they are very sickly. Every now and then they fall sick. Therefore, they take, now, that is not a misconduct because he's genuinely ill. But taking excessive MC to avoid work, that means, he keep malingering. Don't want to come to work, take MC. Don't want to come to work, take MC. That is a misconduct. Right? So, not the same scenario. If you are genuinely ill and you happen to have so many MCs, that is okay because you're genuinely ill. But if the employee is not ill, pretend to be sick, and he keep getting MC, that is a misconduct. So this is what, this particular case says so. Now, if you see in this case, 1979, 14 days of medical leave, 1980, 32 days, etc. And, from the case of what it says that the claimant had been certified physically and mentally fit. Who certified him? In this case, the company has sent him for assessment. And the clinic or the doctor appointed says that he's fit. And there was no absence that his health has become, has gone bad to worse. No evidence. That is why earlier on I said, the burden to prove that they are not well is not you. Dear HR folks, don't take the burden on your head. Oh, you must prove. No. You tell the employee, dear John, we understand you're not well. You've taken quite a number of MCs. Company is concerned. We would like you to go and see Dr. Raza to be, for him to assess your medical condition. Please bring all your reports. Pass to Dr. Razak. He is medically trained to look at your, to evaluate your case. He's got to go, right? If he's not able to prove, that's his fault, not yours. So remember this, don't put that burden on your head. The problem with us is we become, the moment we employ medical condition, we start to freeze. Then we put a burden on our head and end up not doing anything. And what do? Every day we grumble, complain, we keep whining like a crybaby. Oh, I got employees like that. What to do? Start taking real action. In this case, employees, you look at the sickness, 35 days in 1994, 47 days the following year, 48 days in 1996, and 51 days in 1997, right? He was subjected to a counseling session, right, for medical history, because he said he got gastric and operations, etc. He underwent a compulsory medical test. Remember, kawan-kawan, compulsory medical test. You're not doing it. Start doing it. Compulsory medical test on 10th of December 1997, and the doctor certified him fit. Right? Doctor certified him fit for employment. He was given final warning. He was reminded to change his attitude and improve performance. Because there was no performance, the company suspended him and later dismissed him. And what the industrial court said in this case, any employee, any worker, you're liable to fall sick. If you're sick, go and get MC. Understand? But if you abuse MC, that is an issue already. Right? So if an employee is genuinely ill, please care for them. Give them support. But if the employee abuses, always keep a watch out for those employee abusing MCs. Okay, so let me just touch one or two, then I'm going to go to the frequently answered questions. Right, so I hope you have now understood how do you manage, right? So now, whoever answers the question first, you get this book, okay? Sick leave. Now, some of you all, this could be a shocking fact for some of you all, right? Sick leave, section 65(1). It says this, an employee shall, after examination at the expense of the employer by a registered medical practitioner duly appointed, that means appointed by the company, the employer. So now my first question, I got my colleagues in front of me, Yon, capture the first name, write it down, they'll get a book, right? So whoever is the winner, please get in touch with us, give us your address, we'll courier the book to you. So number one, can the company limit the medical benefits? Yes or no? The first question first. Can the company limit medical benefits? Sally is first. You cannot limit the medical benefits. Am I right? Yon, Sally is the first? Yeah. Okay, Sally, you got a book. Now, but again, I need to clarify this. You cannot limit, see, when the employee goes to the clinic, there's two parts. The doctor charges you for two things. One is consultation, or in other words, examination. Two is medication. As per section 60F1, it does not talk about medication, so we can put that aside. You want to limit medication, you don't want to pay for medication, no problem. But you got to pay for consultation. So in other words, MC, you can actually ask the clinic to itemize it. Okay, doctor, can you please itemize it? What is the cost of medication? What is the cost of consultation? Consultation has got to be paid by company. You cannot limit, like what Sally says. Why you cannot limit? Because section 60F1 says, did the section 61 says that, 60F1 says that an employee shall, after examination at the expense of the employer, pay for medical examination or consultation, subject to a limit by the company? No, there's no word limit. So in other words, you can limit medication or probably don't pay for medication, but you cannot limit consultation. Right? So I hope This, I know this could be something new to some of you all, but please take note. If you limit 300 a year or 600 a year, now remember this, you cannot limit medication. You can limit, sorry, why am I giving a wrong answer? You cannot limit consultation, right? You got to pay for consultation. Why? Section 60F1 did not indicate you can put a limit. It only says that an employee, let's see if I'm an employee, after examination, at your expense, you pay for it by a medical doctor or a medical practitioner appointed by you, right? So Sally, congratulations. The second question, right? Second question. No, okay, this one got no price. Price is the next one. Can the company confine the employee to a selected clinic? I've already given you an answer just now. If you want to confine them, you can. Why? Why can you confine? Who says you can confine? Right? So some of you all say confine. Who says you can confine? Let's go back to section 60F1A. An employee shall, after examination at the expense of the employer, by a registered medical practitioner duly appointed by you. You appoint. So now if I were to tell Sally, Grace, Morgana, Mui King, you employees, you must go and see Dr. Razak. That is our appointed doctor. You got to go and see Dr. Razak. If you go to any other doctor, the company have the option not to accept the MC, because I've already told you Dr. Razak is our appointed doctor. You see Dr. Razak, I pay for it. If you see any other doctor, I'm not going to pay for it. You can even do that. But again, I would encourage you all to be a little bit more reasonable. You know the guy stays in Seremban, right? For example, company PJ, when you hire the employee, the guy stays in Seremban and you hired him. When he's not well, he's at home, Seremban. How do you expect to come to see Dr. Razak and PJ? So be reasonable as well. But if the employee is staying nearby your factory, nearby your company, then see Dr. Razak lah. But if he's going to stay far away, what I would encourage you to do, okay, since you're staying in Seremban, go and see, if you've got a panel, even better. But you can't have panel, in Klang Valley, or if your employees are all over the town, all over the place, you can't be having panel doctor everywhere. So you can tell the employee, okay, when you're not well, Dr. John's, if you go and see Dr. Razak, we pay for it. But because you're staying in Seremban, and I know you're staying in Seremban, I can't expect you, when you're not well, go from Seremban, you travel all the way to PJ to get a medical examination done. Okay, you see whatever doctor you want, but when you come back to work, go and see Dr. Razak, get him to endorse your MC, we'll pay for your MC. Right? You can also do that if you want to. So be reasonable. So I've already answered these two questions. How can you spot an employee abusing medical leave? When you see them, Mondays, Fridays, after payday, after public holiday, before public holiday, etc. How can you prevent abusers? The moment you see, don't wait until 14, 18 days. The moment you see 2, 3, 4 days, something is wrong. Then you tell the employee, please go and see Dr. John, Dr. Razak, to do a medical assessment. I will pay for it. Bring all your reports. See him, right? So if you start doing that, you will start to see a decline in your medical abuse. Those employees genuinely ill, please support them. Please care for them if they're genuinely ill. But when you suspect something, send them for doctor's assessment. Okay, now it is important for you to have your policy on medical health or employee medical leave for employee health, whatever name you call it. Now we have a comprehensive policy, like what you can see. It's almost a 5 or 6 page policy that covers all this. Now, when you have your medical policy, not just simple policy saying that if you are sick, you go and see, etc. Of course, entitlement is given by the law. If you're a new employee, less than 2 years, 14 days. If you've been with the company for 2 to 5 years, it's 18 days. And if you're more than 5 years, it's 20 days. This is given by the law, right? And hospitalization leave, it is 60 for all categories. This is given. But what do you do when the employee, doctor says, okay, I'm going to discharge you. You rest at home. Is that a HL or is that a sick leave? What is that? Right? So EA, I don't know whether I don't think I captured this. Okay, but what does EA say? The HL must be certified by the doctor as well. It's given by the law. So sometimes we crack our head. Should it be a HL or sick leave? Because you got a discharge letter, let's give him HL. Laws clearly says certified by the doctor, right? So how do you manage a situation where the employee come back to you saying that, oh, I was admitted to hospital, then the doctor discharged me and gave me MC for another 2 weeks, but he's at home. Is this a sick leave or hospitalization leave? Your policy should cover it. What happens, compulsory medical tests cover it. So I would encourage you all to download this form, download this policy. You can see the QR code, scan this QR code, download the policy, review it, compare against yours, see if there's any room for improvement, improve it, right? This is what I call as an airtight policy. That means no room for employee to maneuver. It's airtight. So have a look at it. And the next to it is the form. Just now I said employees medical surveillance. When you send them for assessment 3 months, 6 months, I call that as a surveillance. You can call it whatever name you want. This is just a suggested name. This is a form that I use. Not go and see doctor give a letter. See, when the employee, if you're going to terminate them at the end of the day, make sure all your documentation is in order, right? You cannot just say, we send the employee for medical assessment, doctor say not fit, so we terminate, right? So this form will guide your process to some extent. So the second QR code is for that form. Now you can call it whatever name you want, modified, etc. We leave it to you. But what I'm trying to say is document all your processes, because when the termination is being challenged by the employee later, you have got all this documentation guide you to support your decision, right? So download these two, review, look at it, see whether there's anything you could enhance your current policy. Please go ahead and do it. It's free for you. Okay, so that is on medical process. Let me cover on maternity. Now, right, I'll take on question answer once I'm done. Just 2 or 3 slides, then I'm done. Now, maternity, all of us know whether it's Sarawak Labour Ordinance, Sabah Labour Ordinance. By the way, my presentation today covers whether you're under Sarawak Labour Ordinance or Sabah Labour Ordinance, or if you are, Employment Act in Peninsular Malaysia, whether it's maternity, whether it's medical, both on the same page. Now, Employment Act, Sarawak Labour Ordinance, Sabah Labour Ordinance provides 98 days of maternity leave and allowance, right, if they qualify. So this, 98 days cannot be less. You can give 100, 105, 108, up to you, 200 days, but it cannot be less than 98. Why 98? Anybody? Why 98? Anyone? Why is it 98? Okay. Right answer, the first one gets this book. Why 98? It's okay, just correct. So Miss Lee, you've just got yourself a book. Later part, get in touch with us, give us your address, we can courier the book to you. Now, yes, it's 14 weeks. ILO's recommendation of maternity leave is 14 weeks. 14 times 7, 98, right? Congratulations. So now, but there's 2 conditions to fulfill. Just because you work does not mean that you're entitled. There's 2 conditions. Okay, before that, only for the first 5 living child, right? So if the employee delivers child number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, yes. But if the wife delivers child number 6, no maternity allowance. But what happens, you see my fingers here, what happens? The first 5 but child number 3 passed away, right? Child number 3 passed away. Now the wife delivers her child number 6. When she delivers child number 6, will she be entitled to maternity benefits? Child number 3 passed away. Will she qualify? Answer is yes, because the child number 6 is the 5th living child at that point in time. So as long as the child who is delivered is the 5th living child, she will still qualify. So if the employee, let's say, the first child passed away, second child passed away, third child is still alive, fourth still alive, fifth still alive, child number 6, will she or he get maternity, will the employee get maternity leave and allowance? Answer is yes. Because why? That is the living child number 4. Okay, now the conditions to be entitled for maternity payment, the allowance, put leave aside. For sure, leave they got to enjoy. You cannot tell them just because you don't qualify must come and work. No, they still stay at home for the 98 days, but they will not get an allowance. So now, the first condition, and this is same in Sabah, Sarawak, and also in Peninsular Malaysia under Employment Act. The first condition, the employee must have worked for you for a total of 90 days, right? Even though they work 1 month, rest 1 month, work 1 month, not working 1 month, you plus all together, you add on all together in aggregate of 90 days in the last 9 months. That's the first condition. And, right, not or, and the employee has been employed by you, that means worked for you anytime, even if it's 1 day in the last 4 months before her confinement, right? So these two conditions must be met. Kedua-duanya, bukan atau, done. A dan B, right? Number 1 and number 2. Got it? So the condition number 1 is 90 days in the last 9 months. Condition number 2, anytime in the last 4 months. So now, I've got a trivia for you, right? There are 7 scenarios. Okay, it's a bit small. I hope you all can see it. Can it be seen? Can, okay. There are 7 scenarios. Now, for the sake of discussion, every month is 30 days. Easy, right? Every month is 30 days. Huh? In the first scenario, did the employee work 90 days? Answer is yes. 30, 60, 90, right? 3 months, 30 times 3, 90 days. Did the employee work at least one day, anytime in the last 4 months? Yes. Month number 6, she didn't work. But month number 7, 8, 9, they work. Anytime. So first condition, even though they resign, let's say they resign, they are still entitled. Scenario number 2, they work the entire 9 months. But, the moment they deliver, the husband says, you know what, rest at home. Don't want to go to work anymore. You send a letter, 24-hour resignation. For example, is she entitled to maternity allowance? Answer is yes. Scenario number 3, let me hear this from you. Scenario number 3, first condition met, 90 days? Yes, 30, 60, 90, 120. Did the employee work any time in the last 4 months? And does she qualify? Scenario 3, qualified or not? Scenario number 3, qualifies or not? I'm looking at the comments. So scenario number 3, yes. Even though the employee has resigned at no longer works after month number 6, but she has already qualified for the allowance. Why? Because 90 days is there, and the last 4 months, at least month number 6, she worked. So the second condition also fulfilled. But normally these employees are not aware on their rights. So please educate them. Please call them, come. Please come and collect your maternity allowance. What about scenario number 4? Anybody scenario 4? If you can just put when you answer, right? Scenario 4, yes or no? Anyone? Scenario 4, yes or no? Because there's a lag between what you type and what I'm seeing. So scenario 4, yes or no? When you answer, please put 4.yes or 4.no. Okay? Scenario 4, correct. No. Who answered that? Okay, Sammy, my last book for today for you. So Sammy, please claim this book. Get in touch with us. Give us your address. We'll courier this to you. So yes, Sammy answered scenario 4, no. Because why? Even though the employee worked more than 90 days in the last 9 months, but she did not work in the last 4 months, anytime. Satu hari ada kerja, last 4 months, tak ada. So, don't qualify. Sammy, congratulations. Now, what about scenario number 5? Yes or no? When you reply, just put 5.yes or 5.no. Okay? Scenario number 5, yes, some of you answer. Now, scenario number 5, yes. Bukan no, yes. Why? 90 days, ada. But in the last 4 months, did she work? Yes. in the month number 6, she worked for a few days. So in the last 4 months, ada kerja? Ada. Beberapa hari. So qualify. So scenario 5, she qualifies. Scenario 4, she doesn't qualify. Why? Because the last 4 months, scenario 4 didn't work. But scenario 5, ada kerja. So scenario 5 is a yes, sir. What about scenario number 6? Does the employee qualify? 90 days, got 30, 60, then she didn't work, you re-employed her, and there's another 30 days. So 30, 60, 90 ada. Did she work any time in the last 4 months? Scenario number 6. Did she work any time in the last 4 months? Answer is yes. Why? Because both conditions are met. 90 days, yes. 30, 60, 90. Any time in the last 4 months? Yes. Month number 9, she worked. Answer is yes. What about the last scenario? Scenario number 7. Yes or no? Scenario number 7, yes or no? 90 days got? Yes. Right? 30, 60, 90. But did she work anytime in the last 4 months? Yes. Because bulan ke-6 ada kerja. So, both conditions are met. Scenario number 7, the employee qualifies for maternity allowance. Right? Now, of course, when you read EA, it doesn't give you in this scenario, but hopefully this table gives you a bit of way how to understand, conditions, number 1, number 2, in what scenario they meet, in what scenario they don't meet. So now, can the employee commence her maternity leave earlier than 36 weeks? Of course, if they, actually not leave, should be allowance. What the law says, as long as the employee, she was pregnant for 22 weeks, and after completing 22 weeks, let's say minggu ke-23, miscarriage, right? Or what they call is, when the child is born but not ready yet, there's a name for it. But premature, yes. Premature delivery or maybe miscarriage, but complete week 22. The law says she is qualified for maternity allowance, right? So, but if let's say the employee, had a miscarriage, minggu ke-20, week number 20, she don't qualify. She can, she doesn't qualify. Why? Because she must complete 22 weeks. And they must notify you 4 months before. I think this you all know. So 22 weeks I've already mentioned. Why do we call it maternity allowance? Does it mean that we must pay salary and allowance together when they go on 90, the 98 days they're not working, when they're at home confinement? Do we need to pay salary and allowance? Why do we call it allowance? Anyone? Why do we call it allowance? We don't call salary because salary is paid when you work. But because you're not working, remember wages for work done? You're not working. Therefore, you get an allowance. But it's the same lah. The payment is the same. Some of you all may call it paid maternity, unpaid maternity. Okay, that is a terminology matter, right? So because they're not working, we don't give salary. We give an allowance of the same value. Foreign workers, do they qualify for maternity leave and maternity allowance? Answer is yes. Even though they're under work permit, right? Employment Act do not distinguish. Tidak bezakan local or foreign. Whether you're local, whether you're foreign, if you deliver a child, you're qualified. Employment Act. Immigration, lain cerita. And what happens if the female is not married? Tak kahwin, tapi beranak. Not married but delivers a child. Again, the law is silent. Did not say must be married or not married. So if she's unmarried, she also qualifies. Right? If she delivers a child. So these are some things that we got to know. Okay. So I'm going to take on a question. Just give me one more last slide. Now, we are approaching year end. What is your plan for next year? What are you going to do next year? Plan for team building 2026? For me, team building always has a limited value. So what should you do? There are 3 focus areas that every HR practitioner should focus on. 3 focus areas. Number 1, compliance and governance, right? Compliance to the law or your internal governance, frameworks. Establish a handbook. If your company is in Sabah, recently Sarawak Sabah, 1st May they've gone live with their labor ordinance. comply with it. Law says that every year, before the new year starts, before 2026 starts, the law says, Employment Act and Sarawak Labour Ordinance, Sabah Labour Ordinance says that you must publish your 2026 public calendar holiday before 2026 starts. If you don't do, maximum fine 50,000. Right? Have you published it? December is coming. January is coming soon. Another 2-3 months, January. So please do it. Otherwise, you're not complying. There's a sample memo in the forum. Download it. Have you reviewed your employment contract? Have you put up prevention of sexual harassment posters? If you don't do, 50,000 maximum fine again. Sarawak, Sabah, Malaysia, Peninsula. Right? Go and do it. There are sample posters in the forum. Go and download it. Have you established a domestic inquiry panel? So that when you have a DI issue, the panel is ready-made. No need go around, who can, you can, cannot, right? So if you're having foreign workers, have you enhanced your foreign workers management systematics, right? So this is compliance and governance. 2 days ago, High Court made a ruling, right? I hope you all have read it. Foreign workers, High Court made a ruling. The ministry had a statement saying that they agreed with the court and employees, please follow. What is it? When a foreign worker arrives in Malaysia, their salary starts from day one. On the day they arrive, the salary starts. So this is new. Not what Arul says, right? Or not what Mr. Steven Sim says. The High Court made a ruling that company must pay the foreign workers' salary on the day they arrive. If they arrive today they are paid. Their salary starts today. That's compliance. And of course, Kasuma, the minister, did a statement saying that they support the court's decision, advise the employees, please follow. Right? So these are all compliance. Now, the second pillar or the second focus area is your operational matters. Your grievance management systematics, your PIP framework, making things lean and fast. Set up an interview panel. Upskill your team. Right? And whatever, etc. Now, the last one, please ignore it because this is, I think there's no requirement to use up your levy by February. This is last year, sorry. Please ignore the last statement. And strategic. What are those strategic areas? If you are focused so much on compliance and operational matters, you're not going to add any value add. So, a HR department that focus on compliance, governance, operational compliance, governance, yes, you're keeping your house in order, but you're not helping the company to move forward. You need both. You need to keep the house in order so that all the rules are followed. You protect the company against any labor issues. At the same time, you help the company to grow. Those are strategic areas. Have you established a training plan for your line managers? Succession plan? Have you done your TNA for next year? Upskilling, competency mapping. Have you reviewed your processes relating to people development? Have you reviewed Com and Ben? Right? So you need all these three. So my advice to you all is to look into this table. Some of you all, you might be doing some of this, fantastic, good. Is there any other areas? So this is just to give you some ideas what to do next year. So remember, your KPI for next year must have three items in it. Compliance and governance, operational, strategic. Okay, so let me take on your questions now. Okay, maybe before that, one more slide before that. Now, whatever I've shared just now, it is also covered in the masterclass. But it's a 2 days power pack, super compact, right? With tons of HR breakthrough strategies. How do you save money on annual leave? How do you save money on sick leave? How do you save money on notice period? How do you save money on probation period? Save money, how do you save money? Right? Can you save money on notice period? You can save tens of thousands of ringgit. How? How do you save money on probation period? Can. Betul ka? Yes. How do you save money on MC? Right? This is what I call as a breakthrough strategy. So all these are covered in the masterclass. I'll be giving you templates, samples, policies, frameworks, guidelines, how to do things right, how to design the big picture based on using IREA as the foundation, the bedrock. So these classes are being done. Sabah is done. Sarawak is happening next week. Monday, Tuesday, I'll be in Sarawak. So those of you, we still have 1 or 2 more slots. If you're interested, send an email to Sophie. We are having one in Penang on 9 and 10 December, and in PJ, there's one class in PJ coming soon. Okay, so that is on masterclass. And we have our own internal certification programs as well, but this is very specific to your job scope. If you are a payroll professional, we've got a program for payroll professional. It's a 3-module program over a period of time. You can do on a modular basis. Or if you're a TNA, if you're an L&D, be a certified training need assessor. Or if you are in IR, or if you are a competency manager, there's a certified program for competency manager. So this is what we have. Please do, consider if you want to deepen your knowledge. And this is a program by Yayasan Peneraju for Bumi Putra professionals. Certification program by SHRM, funded fully by Yayasan Peneraju. So those of you all, if you want to get this certification, there's 2 levels. The junior paper is called CP, the senior paper is called SCP. So if you're interested, scan the QR code and drop us. This deadline is coming very soon. This is only for this year cohort, and next year, whether it's on, we do not know. So you got to submit by end of this month. So if you're interested, you got to send us your interest, scan this QR code, and write to us, and we'll call you. It has got to, you got another 2-3 weeks. That's it. After that, it's going to be hard to process before year end. Right? For those of you all, if you are interested, please scan. Now, let me pick up your question answer. Those of you all, if you need to go, please go. I'll be here for another half an hour to answer all your questions. So those of you all, if you need to rush, thanks for joining. But those of you all, if you like to stay, please stay. Okay, so yeah. So let me pick up. I know there's a lot of questions, but I need. Are you going to show up the questions? Okay. So I can't see all the past ones. Okay, just give me a. So let me pick up whatever I could based on the flow. Okay, maternity leave, tak kahwin, the law did not say must kahwin or tak kahwin. But paternity leave, the law says must be married. Right? Paternity leave must be married. Maternity, the law is silent. Okay, for maternity leave, let's say the employee already got 5 child when she worked in the other company. Now she joins your company. Do you continue or start fresh? You continue. So it doesn't matter whether last company or this company, as long as got 5, she doesn't qualify. Okay, Johor don't have. Every time we do masterclass in Johor, we don't get the right support. We launch masterclass in Johor, very few people. So maybe orang-orang Johor terpelajar, so tak payah turun Johor. But anyway, if you come to KL, please come to PJ. I mean, if you can come, please come. Okay, so there's a question. What exactly, when we said maternity allowance, what do we exactly pay? If you go to the law, employment, it says that the wages. So hui, salary, fixed allowances, you're right. Right? So these are things that you pay because you've already guaranteed them salary and fixed allowances. So yes, you pay. But if there's a certain allowances that you pay based on work, for example, you come to shift, you get shift allowance. That one, if you don't include, that's fine. Can a company choose not to include maternity allowance? No. The law says that as long as the female employee, she delivers a child and she qualifies based on the scenarios, and that is the first 5 child, you have to pay, my friend. So, Azmili, you got to pay. The law says you got to pay. If you don't pay, employee can go to labor and complain to labor that company did not pay me maternity allowance. You got to pay. Now, many of you all may not be aware. Do you know that Employment Regulations 1957 requires you to maintain a maternity register? There's a form that you got to fill out when an employee goes on maternity leave, not to submit to labor, but you got to fill up and keep. If you don't do, that's an offense. Maximum fine, 50,000 ringgit. So not just in your leave system or your payroll system, employee maternity leave, okay, I've done my job. No. The Employment Regulations 1957 requires you to have, or requires you to maintain the maternity register. So now, please get this book. You can buy this from Popular as well. Or if you come to masterclass, we give you a copy. Sabah, we give you Sabah's copy. Sarawak gives Sarawak's copy. So in this book, right, all the compilation regulations are there. So I would encourage all of you all, get one copy. It is about 30 plus ringgit in Popular. So you'll learn about the maternity register. Or go to the Facebook community. We also have put the employment regulations there. We have shared the maternity register as well. Go, download it, and every time employee goes on maternity, fill up that form. Otherwise, it's a penalty, it's an offense. Okay, now, thanks, Fung, for asking on this question. How do we manage employees with medical health conditions? This is a scenario that some companies, is having. What do you do? So now remember when I was sharing on Garrick's versus Nolan, right? The court says this: the employer cannot be expected to go to unreasonable length to accommodate an employee, right? So now employees' medical condition, you can support them, care for them, give them whatever guidance, whatever you can. But if the condition is not improving, if the condition is going from bad to worse, what do? You have to make a tough decision. But if you want to wait, you say, never mind lah, we kasihan, pity him, etc. If you're able to keep him or her continuously, go ahead. But what happens down the road after 5 years? You will come back to square one again. So there are a couple of practices. So some companies, what they do, if the employee is having some medical condition, he or she cannot perform the usual job, they find any other job that this person can do that doesn't affect the company, other employees. If you can do it, do it. If you need to offer them a lower job, go for it if you have it. If they don't want to take it, that's another story. Or after some time, you have given them the support, care, guidance, but their condition is becoming bad to worse. You have to make your decision already. Should I keep or should I now frustrate the contract? So you got to do that. So there are cases of companies, after going through the process, they had to frustrate the contract. Now, if the employee challenges you, explain to the court why you did it. So you don't have to necessarily keep. But if you feel you have that moral, consciousness, empathy, you want to keep, etc., that's up to you, right? Sometimes I also tell company, why not call if let's say things get beyond your control, you cannot manage them anymore, it's affecting other employees, you have tried whatever you could, you can't, call the next of kin, right? There's a next of kin, right? Call the next of kin, discuss with them, talk to them, work out the MSS package. That's another thing you can do. You kasihan, right? Give MSS. So you have to do something. But so in other words, right, phase one, support them, care for them, do what you can. Phase two, make a decision, right? Okay, so there's a question by Akila. Can the company limit medical benefits under sick leave? Wondering why. Can they set per visit limit for medical benefits? Let's go back to Employment Act. Employment Act do not give any limits. It says that an employee shall be examined at the expense of the employer. No limit for consultation, or in other words, examination. Employment Act, Sarawak Labour Ordinance, Sabah Labour Ordinance did not put a limit. It says that an employee shall be examined at the expense of the employer. That's it. So if the doctor says that the cost of examination is 40 ringgit, you got to pay 40 ringgit. If the doctor says the cost of examination is 1,000 ringgit, you got to pay 1,000 ringgit, right? That is why choose your medical practitioner. I tell you, some of the practices out there, company chooses the panel, they negotiate the examination costs. They negotiate it, right? Do that if you can. But I can tell you, in a GP clinic, right, when they go to a not regular clinic, when you pay 60 ringgit for your MC, the higher cost is the medication cost. Usually consultation, if you ask them to itemize it, 5, 10, 15, 20 ringgit, maybe 25, 30 ringgit. The cost of medication is where it's expensive. And just to let you know, the Ministry of Health, I don't know, is it through under MMC or whatever, the consultation cost is kept by the regulation, not EA, but by the medical ministry. I mean, our health ministry. I don't know through which agency. They limit they actually govern, they regulate the cost of consultation, if I'm not mistaken. So choose your doctor, and you can negotiate if you can, and that's it. But you got to pay. You cannot limit. You also cannot say, okay, per visit, 60 ringgit. I know some of you limit 60 ringgit, but I think you shouldn't worry because the cost of examination, or shall I say consultation, is usually very low. It is a cost of medication. Talk to your clinic, ask them to, itemize it. For example, you may say, the company will pay 60. As long as you can cover the examination and a bit for you cover full examination and part of medication, you're okay, no problem. So you can limit, but the examination cost must be paid. So Akila, just to answer your question, if you were to ask them to itemize it, you will notice that the consultation cost is quite minimal. It is a medication. So if you're saying that per MC you limit to 60, I would advise you to basically refine your policy, right? Make it very clear. Don't leave any room for ambiguity. State there that the company covers consultation fee as per charged, plus medication subject to a limit of 60 overall. So in that way, you cover consultation 100% and whatever medication, but limited, right? So refine your policy so that you don't invite any potential confusion in the future. Okay, so remember this, it doesn't matter whether the employee use up, first month all fully, doesn't, because the law did not say 6 months, 8 months, 1 year. No, the law just say that because this is, the law says no limit. In other words, of course, you will not find the word no limit. The challenge with, the thing is this: when you read the act doesn't, it's not explained the way you can understand. You must know how to interpret the act. So sometimes people ask, my boss wants to see where the act says no limit. You got to learn how to interpret the act. So come to the master class. I will be guiding you how to interpret the act. The problem with us is we ask, we memorize, but we never learn how to interpret the Employment Act, right? Knowing how to, we know how to interpret, your phone calls to wherever you call for help will be much lesser. So again, please join the masterclass if you have not. Okay, now Catherine, can we reduce an employee basic salary if they transfer to modified light duty? Now, I will not use the word reduce salary. I will not use the word transfer, right? I will not use these two words, reduce salary, transfer. What you are doing, because of the employee's medical condition, he or she cannot perform the regular job. What do? You tell the employee, okay, Catherine, we have a job that fits the employee. Sorry, let's say the employee name is John. John, because of your medical condition, you cannot perform the role of technician anymore. We have a job as a storekeeper. However, the job is 1 grade lower and the salary is lower than what you get today. If you are keen, please apply in writing. Make them apply, Catherine, not you tell them. Just like retiree. Why do you make mistakes when not Catherine, but generally retiree, right? Why do we, the guy retire, he never asks for a job, you give him a contract. When it comes to retiree or even employee's medical condition, tell the employee, hey, you know what, John, you're retiring, right? We've got a job as this job. If you want, please apply. Let them apply. You don't need cooling period when employee retire. Why you need cooling period when employee retire? He retired what? You give him an official letter, he reached 60, your contract says 60, retire. No need cooling period. You don't need that 1 day cooling period, 1 week, 30, you don't need. You retire this person officially, but 1-2 months before that, you tell him, John, we've got a job. If you want, you apply. New contract, new job, new application. So here, you don't tell him that, John, tomorrow I want you to report a storekeeper. No, you ask John to apply. Right? Always protect yourself as a company. Okay, now this is a very interesting one. maybe I'll add on further. Sherlyn, what if the employee went for a registered TCM? Again, you appoint them. If your company accepts it, you accept it. So you decide, right? TCM is another branch of another medical branch recognized, etc. If you appoint them, you accept. Remember this: appointed by a medical practitioner. Now, another favorite question nowadays, with technology, sometimes technology can be good, technology can be challenging as well. Now we have got this online consultation. Employee gets MC online, right? There's a couple of platforms online. If you're not feeling well, you go online, you talk to doctor, and the doctor says that, okay, you know what, you're not feeling well, I'll send you an MC. Well, online medication now. Should you accept? Now, it goes back to a company policy. Are they registered medical practitioner? They are registered, otherwise they can't practice. But it's just that the mode is online, right? Online consultation, right? So if you accept, you appoint them, so back to your company policy. So that is something that you all didn't ask, but I'm just sharing with you. Okay. Joanna, if he reject to write the letter to apply for light duty, if he doesn't want, see, you've already offered to him. Again, always keep black and white. You send him a letter. Dear John, in view of your medical condition, you're no longer able to perform the role of a technician. We do have a role, as a storekeeper or maybe, some desk job, etc. In this department, and this is the job grade, and this is the maximum salary that we can pay. If you are keen, please write into us. He doesn't write, so be it. But you can prove that I have done what I need to do. I've done what I could do. But he doesn't respond, nothing much you can do. So, Joanne, don't put a burden on your head, right? You give them a letter, you give them in writing, black and white. Whether he accepts, whether he wants to take the next step or not, that's up to him. But you have done your part. Okay, Nadia Yong, could you enlighten, could you explain okay, I can't understand a question related to medical condition, company responsibility, employee responsibility. Don't quite understand your question, but company responsibility, very simple, as I mentioned, put them through a process to monitor them, manage them, etc., support them, give them all the necessary support, care, etc. But after a period of time, if the employee is not improving, the health condition not improving, and you cannot wait anymore, then you need to make a decision. Employee responsibility, whatever the company asks you to do, please do it. So that's why your policy, you should have one clause on compulsory examination when instructed by the company. If the company don't have light duty, maybe your company's operation is small, you don't have light duty, etc., then nothing much you can do. It is not remember this, tak semestinya company must create light job. It is not that you must modify the job or you create light job. If you can do it, please do it. But there might be a scenario where you could do it, but you just refuse to do it. Then you might have a problem. Or you have given somebody else a light duty before, and there's a potential scenario or potential a way to even modify this. But because you don't like this guy, you said no, cannot. Those are the kind of things that might be a potential challenge for you later, right? Be fair. You got to be fair. If there's an opportunity to create, but you just refuse to, that's your fault. Now, I just want to give you a similar scenario. It may be out of context, but it's good for you to know. Now, in the case of AIMS Cyberjaya versus Azhar, if I'm not mistaken. Now, what the court says, in that particular case, the court says that foreign workers are actually permanent employees. What this company did, if I remember the facts clearly, he's a foreign expatriate. Foreign expatriate, you renew the contract every 1 year, 2 year, you renew. But came a point in time, the company says, oh, your contract finished. No work permit. The employer is unhappy because you've been renewing me every year. So if you apply to immigration and immigration rejected, no problem. But you didn't apply. And you use that as a way to tell him that, oh, sorry, no permit anymore. So coming back to this context, right? Sorry, I sometimes when I answer question, I get lost. What did I say just now? Yeah, light duty, sorry. So if you have a potential, there is an opportunity for light duty, but you refuse to give, you might have an issue later. Or you know what, sometimes employee may talk to the supervisor. He said, supervisor, let's say like, for example, in shop floor, boss, you know, saya punya this one macam ni, ada tak light duty, modified duty? Oh, ada, boleh, I boleh arrangekan. Tapi you jumpa HR. He go and see HR say cannot. Then you terminate him. He files a case. He tells the court, actually, when I spoke to the supervisor says can. He even showed me what to do, but the company say cannot. So these are scenarios where you might checkmate yourself. So that is why my advice to all of you all, right, have a very clear framework from end to end. Who should be in charge? Jabatan Sumber Manusia. You got to be in control. You got to be in the driver's seat. But if you said, oh no lah, we are busy stamping contract, LHDNC must stamp contract, switch off light, you know, issue offer letter, exit interview, then you're not going to be able, you're not going to be driver's seat, right? Find ways how to reduce all this unnecessary work. For example, acceptance, you know, when somebody gets confirmed, you give a confirmation letter, and then you want them to acknowledge. Why do you want the acknowledgement letter for what? Just give a letter, dear John, congratulations, you're promoted. Your benefits, notice period shall be as per contract. Why must you get them to acknowledge? You're wasting time. In the contract, you've already said what? Probation, notice period 1 month, confirm notice period 2 months, already said what in the contract? Why you give a letter and ask them to acknowledge? So we waste a lot of time doing unnecessary activities. But those areas that can pose risk to company, we take shortcut. So you cannot do that. Just imagine if a case goes to court and the company is asked to pay hundreds of thousands of ringgit, your boss will probably bring you on a date, right? And the kind of date that you don't want. Okay. So now, Noor, you have given him a chance for 1 year. Now, if he's still not improving, I hope you are going through the doctor's assessment. If you have not done so, send for assessment. You appoint your OHD or your, whoever doctor that you want, a qualified doctor who's able to gauge his condition. Ask the doctor to advise you whether after 1 year, is he fit or not fit. You got to do that. Right? If the doctor says that, okay, based on his condition, it is declining, right? You got to, so you got to take the next step. He's not fit anymore or whatsoever. Okay, now, interesting question. If we frustrate the contract, do we need to give payment in lieu of notice? Right? Yes, you got to give payment in lieu of notice. You have to. And you also got to pay termination benefit for those people who are eligible for termination benefit. So remember this. Thank you for asking, Olpa Wong. You got to give them notice. You got to pay termination benefit if they qualify for termination benefit under Section 60J, right? If they're entitled, those people earning below 4, and those people, manual workers, supervisors who are earning above, you got to pay them, right? But for HR professionals earning above 4,000, you're no longer under the entitled category. If the company terminate you because medically you're not able to perform anymore, you are not qualified. I mean, the company can choose not to pay you the termination benefit. But the other group, those of you all, if you joined my previous webinars or masterclass, remember I categorize green box, red box. Those people, if you remember, those people in the green box, you got to pay termination benefit. Those people in the red box, you don't need to pay. Now, those of you all, if you want to get this table of green box, red box, where I describe who is entitled for annual leave, termination notice, overtime, public holiday if they work, etc., go to the forum, you type the word first schedule, there's a table that I've prepared. easy to understand, illustrated in a way that you could understand. So the red box, you can choose not to pay, but the green box, those people in the green box, you must pay termination benefit. Thanks for asking this question. Okay, maybe this is something interesting, but I just want to, payslip. Lily Elizabeth Wong asked for payslip. Now, payslip must be in English or Bahasa. Okay, if I recall clearly, either it has got to be. It says national language, but you know what, Elizabeth, can you please read employment regulations? Is written there. I just can't recall. But what I can recall is payslips. By default, you got to issue in hard copy. If you want to issue in soft copy, you got to get an exemption, right? I think it's borang L, borang menyimpan daftar pekerja dalam bentuk lain. So you need to submit borang L for Peninsula, Sabah Sarawak as well, but I can't recall their form name. So if you want to keep in soft copy, majority of you, your payslips in soft copy, you must get exemption to use soft copy. Otherwise, by default, hard copy, right? Not everybody, yes, today technology, we use soft copy, etc. But not everyone, those employees who are not PC literate, etc., those who are staying in the interior, no soft copy. Those in the plantations, where got soft copy? So the law, employment regulations still requires hard copy. But if you want to use soft copy, can apply for exemption. Otherwise, again, penalty. Yeah. Borang L, yes. Thank you, Karen, for mentioning that. Payslip, no need to be signed. Don't make process complicated, lah. Right? Otherwise, you are going to be very, very busy. Yeah? Okay. Now, this is the interesting question. If the employee refused to go for medical examination, what do you do? For me, that is, always be tactful. If the company policy says that you got to go for it, he's got to go for it. For me, if an employee refuses to go, I will give him a show cause letter why you're not going for medical examination when instructed by company, right? Give him a chance, opportunity, explain to him. He still don't go, then make a decision, right? So, see, to me, right, I mean, again, you got to look at it from a operational perspective. If you have an employee who is making life hard for the company, what do? I always tell company, don't be so frozen. Take action. Do something. Otherwise, you're going to end up having employees that is going to cause lots of headache and pain for your operations. No DI. Now, this is something interesting. Do I need to do a DI before frustration? Now, remember this. Frustration, when the employee is not unable to work anymore because of medical condition, it is not a misconduct. It is not a disciplinary issue. So why do DI? You put him a DI. Okay, why you're not well? Panel ask, kenapa? No, DI is only when the employee has committed a misconduct, stealing, sexual harassment, or insubordination. Then you do a DI if needed. But employee medical condition, or there's a performance issue, not able to perform, poor performance, medical condition, this is not misconduct. So no show cause letter, no DI, etc. DI is only when the employee has committed a misconduct. So please differentiate that. Same goes to people like to say, during probation, should I do PIP? PIP is not for probationers. A probationer is already on trial. Why you do PIP on him? Give him chance, etc. PIP is for confirmed staff. So if you are doing PIP for probationers, you are wasting time, wasting money, going the wrong direction. So please learn up on all this. I mean, some long questions are a bit difficult for me to read now and explain. I'm just going to pick some of the. So maternity allowance should be mentioned a payslip. So remember this. You must have a maternity register where all the amounts are written on it. Maternity register. You can issue a payslip on top of it because your system, your processes, everybody get payslip, etc. Whatever some of you all may call it paid maternity allowance. To me, let's put terminology aside. But number one, the first and foremost, you must have a maternity register because in that register, the amount of money that you're going to pay, when to when, how much, it is captured in the maternity register. So please make sure the maternity register is there. You want to have a salary slip, and in addition to that, that's extra. But maternity register is a must. Okay, there's a question on employee going to retire. I mean, maybe I don't answer this, but remember this. There's also a part-time employment regulations. Many of you are not aware. Do you know that you can use your part-time regulations to leverage, or shall I say, to manage certain issues? Actually, part-time regulations or part-time employment can be useful, not something punishing or not something bad, but you can leverage on it. Employees, for example, let me give you this real scenario. An employee, those people who are having kidney failure, kidney has failed, they have to go for dialysis. And usually dialysis, right, they have to go like Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Let's say they go in the afternoon. Because I heard if they go for dialysis session, they can't work already for the day. So that is why they schedule the dialysis in the afternoon. Some of you all may be having this, employees having dialysis issue, kidney fail. So every time they go, then you said, oh, take annual leave, unpaid leave, etc. What can you do? So there's one case that I managed those days when I was working. We asked the employee, we told the employee, hey, John, this is permanent. Going for dialysis treatment is permanent. Do you want to consider part-time employment? You come every day morning as usual, 9 o'clock to 1 o'clock, half day, every day. We'll revise your salary. Of course, cannot get the same salary, right? And I always encourage 60%. That means when you cut their work to half, right? Typically, mindset says, oh, half salary, half work, half pay. I would encourage you to go for 60%. So we will reduce your salary. So you just come morning every day, every week. Your work finishes 1. After 1, your work is done. That is one way to manage, rather than having things so complicated, every time how or annual leave finish, how sick leave, etc. This, that. So leverage on a part-time employment. Come to the masterclass. I'll tell you how part-time employment can help people going on maternity, people after maternity, people who are going to retire, people on medical condition. These 4 situations you can leverage on part-time employment, right? And there's a sample that is shared in the forum, how to word your addendum. Okay, so it is 5 o'clock. There's a lot of questions, but I'm not able to answer all. But I hope that I've shared as much info as possible. Again, I would like to encourage all of you all. The masterclass is 3,200. Don't save this money, right? We spend money on team building, spend 100,000, all laugh, fun, go, haha, etc. The poor performer also go and enjoy, have fun, come back to work on Monday, back to square one. 100,000 ringgit wasted. Spend your money where you can make significant change. So the problem I see with a lot of HR practitioners, they save money. They want to go for cheap trainings. They want to avoid trainings. Then, one small issue, 100,000 award. So come to the class. We'll cover all of this, how you can save tens of thousands of ringgit. I will tell you, share with you concepts, how to give, from the time you issue a show cause letter until warning letter, how to do it in 20 minutes. You take 3 days, 5 days, 2 weeks, 1 month. Sometimes issue letter, forgot to issue show cause, forgot to follow up. It can be done in 20 minutes. So by coming to masterclass, I will be sharing strategies, methods, approach, how to reduce your workload by 30%, how to reduce your headache by 70%, how to save tens of thousands of ringgit, save money via annual leave strategy, sick leave strategy, notice period strategy, probation, and many others, right? So if you're interested, sign up Sabah class. I think there's 1 or 2 more, but PJ, we have more coming. So, invest in the 3,200 to save 30% workload, to save 70% headache, and to save tens of thousands of ringgit or hundreds of thousands of ringgit, in the money that you spend without you knowing. If you switch off light when you go for lunch, we're only doing cheap saving, 200 ringgit per month, 300 ringgit per month, but we spend tens of thousands of ringgit into the drain. So please join the class. It's worth it. And for those of you all, the 3 of you all, I think I remember Sally and 2 others. So please get in touch with us. You can either, WhatsApp Sophie or email Sophie better, and just give us your address and your contact number. We'll courier this book to you. Okay, so I think that's all for today. Thanks a lot for joining us. I hope I've given you, some info, at least some basic info, if it's not been super useful, on how to manage employees with medical conditions, what are the things to do, and what not to do. So thank you so much, and I will share these slides in the Facebook community after this. So please feel free to download it. The two forms, the policy and the form, please also download it, review it, compare against what you have. If there's any areas you can improve, please do it. Thank you, and have a good day. Most conflicts at the workplace do not start with rebellion. It starts with confusion.
Approximately 280 Bangladeshi migrant workers in Malaysia are claiming over $694,000 in unpaid wages.
Between January and October, Malaysian authorities issued 4 to 5 million ringgit in fines for labour offences, with 1,654 investigations opened involving forced labour.
But all of it is avoidable when you understand the rules and there is clarity. In this masterclass, I'll share with you how to understand Malaysia's Employment Act and its Sabah and Sarawak counterparts, manage disciplinary issues legally and ethically, eliminate labor disputes before they escalate. We will dissect real case studies from wrongful dismissal to wage disputes, from disciplinary hearings to forced resignations. Sometimes people tell me this kind of class is useless. You can Google it or ask around. But ask yourself this: do you want to be firefighting when the damage is already done? Or do you want to live with peace of mind solving issues before they ever reach your desk? Because no matter what your life looks like now, it can be better. Hi, I'm Arul, and this is my masterclass. Most conflicts at the workplace do not start with rebellion.